What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. That, of course, watching my back, El Flaco Explosivo, a.k.a. the Alexis Arguello puppet. You know what time it is. Another kick-ass episode of Off the Couch Boxing, man. We're about to get it on here, man, with another great guest. The most amazing and real boxing conversations anywhere on planet Earth, right here. Legends, luminaries, world champions, and fighters on the come up, all coming here to chop it up with your boy Reckless Rex. And today we got a fighter that falls into the category of fighters on the come up, man. Rising stars, and he's here now, man. So we're gonna get into it right now and chop it up with him. Mr. International, I'm going all to Australia for this one, baby. Let's get him in here and get down to the brass tacks. And just got to activate you. There he is. What's up, man?
How are you, man? Are you good?
Yeah. Just got to get your camera back up there. There you go. There you go. Hey, you know what, man? When you came in here, I was going to sing a nice rendition of Danny Boy, but I decided not to.
Danny Boy.
I decided that I didn't want to. I decided that I didn't want to put you off immediately, man, with bad singing or whatever. But yeah, I don't have your video up right now.
1 second, there, man.
Should be a camera icon down there at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
There you go. There you go. Nice. Hey, man, so first of all, man, it's a pleasure to meet you, man, and I appreciate you doing this on such short notice, man. We literally, for people that don't know, we just literally threw this thing together, man, like in the last half hour.
Oh, for sure, mate. When you reached out and I said, yeah, why not? Jump on as best as I can, yeah.
Hey, man, so tell me a little bit about how you got your start in boxing, man. Like, when did you get the gloves on, man? At what age?
Geez, I've been boxing since the age of 8 years of age. I'm 27 now, so yeah, I've been fighting a long time. I boxed a long time on the Irish team back at home in Ireland. I had over 100 amateur fights. And then I turned pro when I was just at the age of not long after turning 20, I turned pro. I turned pro here in Australia. I had 3 fights in Australia, 3 pro fights. And then I ended up moving back home, back to Ireland. I'm from Cork. So, yeah, it was good. I had a couple of fights back at home and they kind of got more opportunities then to come back out to Australia on bigger platforms. And I'm back in Australia now only the last 4 or 5 months. And yeah, things have been really good.
Shout out to Cork, Ireland, man. Ireland makes them tough, man. I don't care what anybody says, man, but Ireland, man, breeds hard, tough men, man. And actually, another guy who's a friend of the podcast, I've had him on here 2 or 3 times, man. Are you familiar with Tommy Hyde?
I know Tommy Hyde very well, yeah.
Just had him on last week.
Yeah, Tommy's a really nice guy. I actually boxed on his boxing show in Cork last year.
Yeah.
The main event, and I was the co-main for it. But yeah, Tommy's doing great things as well, and it's nice to see another lad from Cork.
Yeah. And so at 27 years old, man, you just mentioned you're at 27, man. You know, I don't know if people would consider, you're 9-0 with 5 knockouts right now. Are you as far along at 27 years old as you would like to be in your career?
Then again, look, I'm still pretty young in the sport. Like, we see a lot of world champions now and they're getting their shot and they're in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
And as I said, I've been boxing since I've been 8. I've had a big amateur pedigree. So yeah, at the moment I'm definitely in the right place. Like, you see these guys there and they could be 17, 18 fights in their career and they mightn't feel like they're in the position where they want to be, but for 19, I'm definitely happy where I am.
And now, you got into this sport at a young age. Were you actively watching a lot of it on TV? And did you have guys that you looked up to in the sport?
Yeah, I've always seemed to kind of just been an interest in boxing. My dad was a big boxing fan. He's the one that brought me to the gym at 8 years of age. He was actually one of the coaches for the junior Irish team. So it was like second nature to me. I was pulled into boxing and yeah, I grew a love for it.
I mean, did you have any boxing heroes? Like, were there guys that you were watching on TV doing it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you had the likes of back in them days when I was small, we had Bernard Dunn coming up, and Bernard Dunn was he was a big household name at the time.
Yeah.
And we'd watch him on the TV every month. He'd be fighting with the whole nation would tune in. You had all the greats. There's been so many good Irish fighters. Yeah, it was easy to try following their footsteps.
And so, what is the timeline? Like, I don't have it right in front of me, but do you have a fight coming up anytime soon?
I'm just coming off my last fight in December.
Okay.
And I just had a small little bit of a rest, and I was back into training. But yeah, I have a fight coming up. Hopefully that's going to be announced in the coming weeks. Yeah, we're hoping to get out before May again.
And so that'll be your first fight of 2025. How active would you like to be in 2025? Do you have a set amount of fights you'd like to have?
Oh, for sure. I'm just after signing with a new promotion company, Tasman Fighters, and they've been doing such good things in boxing here in Australia, and I'm sure they're going to keep me super busy this year.
What do you made a good point earlier, like about guys being young in the sport. I mean, like I'm 52 years old. So I remember when guys had to have like 20, 25 fights or above before they'd even be in title contention. We're obviously seeing guys now younger and younger with less and less fights. I mean, like, just saw Keyshawn Davis get a piece of the welterweight belt, at 13, 14 fights into his career. Do you and your team discuss like, how far along or like what the timeline is, for when you start thinking about those kind of things?
Look, at the moment, we're just every fight I take, it's more just building. I'm still doing my apprenticeship as a professional. Like 9 fights in, I'm still pretty young in the game.
Yeah.
Every fight we take, we're climbing the ranks. Yeah, and look, when my time comes, yeah, there'll be a position where I'll be left off the leash, and yeah, it'll be time to go to deep waters.
Is there anybody out there right now, you get a lot of these guys all jockeying on social media, being the face of boxing. When you think of the sport right now, is there somebody definitively that comes to mind for you that's the face of boxing right now?
Jeez, there's so many great fighters in different weight classes.
Is there one guy that's kind of like stands above everybody else?
Well, you have the likes of Usyk. Usyk is after unifying the cruiserweight division and now the heavyweight division. You have another guy. He's from Australia here, Jaya Pataya. He looks like he's so far. There's nobody going to touch him at the moment. Like I said, every weight class, there's a superstar in every weight class. So yeah.
What about you? You bring up weight class. You're a welterweight right now. Has that always been your fighting weight? And you see yourself exploring other weight divisions eventually?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to campaign at welterweight. Like I started off my career as a super welterweight. Just when I first turned pro, I was probably like I was probably just floating in between weights, and then I had 3 or 4 fights in a super lightweight. And yeah, my body just seems to be wanting to fill out now, and I've just moved up to welterweight for the last fight, and I'll probably stay at welterweight for another while.
Now you're 9 fights into your career. Is there something specifically that you feel like still needs to, obviously, you're young in the game. You just mentioned, I mean, it's always about learning and, and developing as a fighter. Is there anything specifically right now, like any component of your game, that you're really putting a lot of emphasis on tightening up?
Look, the pro game is all about building, and more than anything, it's about building that gas tank. Like you go from amateurs, you're fighting 3-minute rounds. My last 4 or 5 fights, I've done 6 rounds. My next fight, I'm stepping up. It's either going to be an 8-rounder or a 10-rounder. So it's all about just building that tank up for the bigger rounds.
Where do you stand on? I know it's kind of a polarizing topic. Again, these are just some subjective questions, just kind of getting your opinion on stuff. Jake Paul type events. Are you a fan of these?
Look, hats off to him. He's making massive money from the game. He's selling selling out arenas. He's doing what every boxer wants to do. And like if you look at him from his first fight, his last fight, like he trains like a professional fighter. You know,
Yeah.
he's improving. So yeah, I wouldn't knock him for trying. You know, they say all the money in the world, but you still have to get up and put that grind in every day.
When you look at him, though, you know, has he done enough in the sport right now for you as a guy who's grinding? You know what I mean? You know, really putting in the work, man, really starting your career, you know, pretty much at the same point of his, you know, career that he's at, you know what I mean? You know, on pace with how many fights he's had. Are you able to look at him and say, hey, there's a boxer, or has he not earned that respect yet?
No, I believe he's a boxer. He's like from a guy that's coming from a YouTube background that's had no amateur pedigree. Like he's getting in there with 10-ounce gloves and he's fighting 6-8 rounds, and yeah, he's been in with the likes of Tommy Fury, and he's had a couple of good fights. Like this guy is coming from having no amateur pedigree, so never
Right.
had a junior or so. Yeah, hats off to him to get in and give it all, because you have a lot of people that would say this and that, but a lot of people won't put on a pair of gloves and get in and
Sure. Yeah.
you know, take the head off you.
Now, you're as I said, you're competing at welterweight right now. Assess your own division, man. You know what I mean? Currently at welterweight, man, is there a guy or multiple guys who stand out in the welterweight division right now? You know what I mean? Who you see as kind of the you know, as kind of the kings of that weight right now? I know there's probably multiple guys that are holding belts right now.
Yeah.
Who the hell does have pieces of the welterweight belt right now? Boots has one, doesn't he?
Boots has one, yeah. I think Terence Crawford just had one, but I believe he's moving up.
Vacating,
like,
yep.
Vacating, yeah. Welterweight it's such a stacked weight division, because like there's so many. Like the average body is a welterweight. You know,
Right.
very rare that you're going to have so many heavyweights or even the lighter weights. Everyone seems to be in around welterweight, super lightweight, and above. But there's so many fighters out there at welterweight and super welterweight.
And so, do you think that, like, you know, do you have a ceiling as to where your body can go, man? Only you know your body type. You're competing at welterweight right now, but do you have like a ceiling as far as like exploring other weight divisions and like how high you think you could go?
Oh, for sure. Like you see that with a lot of fighters, the likes of Canelo and Manny Pacquiao, and like the more you're training, as you get older, your body's gonna naturally fill out, and there might be a time where, yeah, you do have to move up in weight classes, but it's just probably being smart and when the right time is to move up. Like everybody knows their body, but I can really say that I'm very confident and comfortable at welterweight at the moment. So I'm planning to stay there for another while, but who knows? I could potentially go down, or I could potentially go up. It's
Now,
a body.
Now at 9-0 with 5 knockouts, you know what I mean? You're kind of right in the middle of like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of half and half. Half your opponents you're knocking out, you know, half you're going to the cards. You know, what would you say like your style is, man? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, would you consider yourself somebody, you know, who should be known as a puncher, or do you consider yourself more of a tactical boxer, or a little bit of both worlds?
Yeah, you could say a sense of a little bit of both. Like I've had a big amateur pedigree, so you know, I like to go out and use my skills. But it's saying that anytime I say when I go into a fight, I don't ever look for the knockout, and that's more than likely when they do come, when you don't go out planning for it. But yeah, as I said, I've had a couple of good wins by knockout, and yeah, when the time comes and I do want to hurt guys, I can hurt them.
Is it scary to think in the back of your mind, though, you know, sometimes that you put in a great performance, though? And unfortunately, you know, I cover the sport. I'm passionate about it. I love it. But we unfortunately do still see some terrible scorecards turned in. Obviously, it's probably not a great idea to go in there hunting for knockouts. It's probably not a great game plan or whatever. But, you know, is it in the back of your mind? Do you worry, you know, when it is in the hands of the judges? Because we have seen so many bad cards turned in.
Oh, for sure. Then again, look, I just leave everything in God's hands. I put in the
Yeah.
work. I go in there and do it, and it's either going to be on my side or it's going to be against me. But you do go in thinking that you're going to go into a level playing ground, and yeah, there's going to be none of that. But yeah, you do have some terrible judging, but yeah, I try not to think of that.
Now, when you go into a training camp, is there a part of the training camp that you really dread? Is there a component of it that you don't like?
No, when I was younger, I used to go into a camp. I'd finish a fight, and I might take a couple of weeks off, and then you'd have when you go back into camp again, you'd have to build it all back up. The last couple of years, I've kind of been like a seasoned pro where I've always stayed in the gym. So yeah, at the moment, I've been really enjoying my training. It's just all about building a base and just trying to take the ball higher.
Now, when you're a young fighter and you are in the early stages of your career, obviously, a big part of it is surrounding yourself with good people. Do you have a good stable team around you? And have these people been with you for a long time?
Oh, I've a great team around me. My manager is a former world champion, Dennis Hogan, the Hurricane Hogan.
Oh,
So
yeah. As a matter of fact, I reached out to him. I'm trying to get him on the podcast. I'm a fan. I love him.
he's a busy man.
I know.
But yeah, me and Dennis, I've been friends with Dennis with 7 or 8 years. Just friends, and as time goes on, then he ends up just helping me out. So yeah, my coach Mark Wilson, he's after training numerous world champions. So both these guys alone, like they know what it takes to go to the very top of the sport, and it's so good if I have any questions or anything, that I can go to them with it.
Now, was boxing always going to be like your path in life? Did you have aspirations of doing anything else?
No, I always had a passion for boxing, and I've been doing it so long now. It's like if anytime you take time off, it's like it's second nature. All you want to do is get back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of at the stage where like I'm in too deep to turn back now. I've been doing my.
Yeah.
It almost feels like I don't know anything else, which is pretty. There's loads of things out there you can do, but yeah, I think boxing is the one thing that drives me in life for sure.
And now, did you find out early in life that you were, that you had boxing skills? I mean, like, were you somebody that, like, like as a child, were you getting in fights with other kids?
No, I always grew up. I grew up tough. Like, yeah, we're always just where we like, as you know, from Ireland. At least every person in Ireland has had at least one fight in their life.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
It's second nature to us. But no, like as I said, we just grew up tough. Yeah, and when we got into boxing, then it was like second nature to us.
And now, do you ever have to go out like how we see it in the movies with the Travelers? Now, did you ever have to go out and represent the Keating clan and go out and settle any family disputes? You know what I mean? Bare knuckled?
No, we
No.
wouldn't be. No, but my two other brothers box. They were actually pretty good fighters. They just never kind of took it as far as I did by turning pro. But they've all boxed for Ireland numerous times, and they've won Irish titles, and they've had maybe 20, 30 plus fights.
And now, do you feel like, I know you're young, you're still early in your career, but do you feel like if you could look ahead and think about, your post-boxing career, do you feel like because you have been around the sport for so long that when your own in-ring career is over, boxing will always be part of your life, i.e. you'll be promoting or training or in some facet of boxing?
I believe so, because even my fiance says it. Like, if there's boxing on a Saturday night, I just naturally seem to tune in and watch boxing, no matter where it's on. I'm getting up early in the morning to watch it, or I'm staying up late at night to watch a fight in Vegas or something. naturally seem to be watching it all the time. But look, yeah, who knows? You could go down that route. There's so many pros that when they do retire, they get into managing fighters. They might get into promoting side of it, or they might end up training some guys.
It's ingrained in you, and it's ingrained in you at this point.
For sure, and it's like it's an experience that you gain in life that it's very hard to come across. Like especially with the likes of Dennis Hogan, like there's not one thing that I could ask Dennis that he wouldn't know, because he's been there, done that. He's been through the hard times. He's been through the good times.
Yeah.
And that experience, you can't buy that experience.
Yeah, you're right. I know it's like especially somebody who's done it at his level. You know what I mean? Like having a person like that as an ally and a person in your corner, invaluable.
Oh, for definite, mate. Yeah, and as I said, he's been an incredible fighter. He like he went to Mexico, I think in 2019, and he fought Munguia, and it
Yeah,
was one of the biggest robberies in boxing, and that was for the WBC super welterweight belt.
yeah,
And he's still stuck to the grind. And 4 or 5 years time, he pulled it out of the bag again, and he won an IBO world title.
yeah.
So yeah, and Dennis is an even better person as well, not just outside of boxing.
I mean, I know you never want to think about like defeat or whatever, but it is obviously something that like always like lurks or whatever, man. Like, and I know I certainly don't want to put the theory in your mind or whatever, man. But on the amateur level, did you taste a loss or have any defeats?
Oh, for sure. I've had over 100 amateur fights. I've fought all over the world for Ireland. I've been to Bulgaria. I've been to Russia. Yeah, amateur boxing is all about that. Is you win some and you lose some, and when it's time to turn pro, then you don't really want to be losing as many. But yeah, like I trust my training and I trust the process, and yeah, that yeah.
How do you bounce back from a loss, man? You know what I mean? Like for you specifically, man, like what's the mentality like? Because I imagine, like anytime you're competing at anything, athletic or otherwise, anytime there's stuff on the line, it always seems like it's something that you're going to take hard. You know what I mean? How did you work through it, and what was the bounce back process like for you?
It's all about learning and and just trying to right your wrongs. Yeah, that's what it's all about. You see so many fighters that once they lose, they hang them up and they can't take a loss. But you see so many good fighters, then they take a loss, but they come back even better. They learn from it.
Yeah.
And like boxing gets criticized a lot about people losing and that, and they seem to jump onto the next guy. But you have the likes of soccer and football and all these sports, and they lose every single week. It's like a team sport. So like, yeah, boxing has that mentality where everybody wants to protect their own and nobody wants to lose. But who gives a shit? Like, everyone loses in life.
It's funny that you say that, because most of the time when I have people on here and I do ask older fighters who they believe the GOAT is, the greatest of all time, typically they'll name people who have losses. It is kind of part of the game,
Oh, for sure. Like one of my favorite fighters growing up was Cotto, and I believe he might have had 6 or 8 losses.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite fighters because, he was the quiet fighter that just showed up and give us so many great nights.
Is that what you pride yourself on? You mentioned that Cotto's a quiet fighter, man. Are you the type, because we see all these guys all barking and woofing on social media, there's a lot of banter, there's a lot of trash talk. Are you one of those kind of guys that errs on the side of being more conservative, or are you able to be baited into, like, how we see these dust ups at press conferences or weigh-ins or whatever? Are you big on banter with fighters and trash talk?
Oh yeah, like as I said, banter sells fights as well.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Everyone meets their match anyway. They're going to meet a person where they're going to have some conflict with. But I like to think that I'm the kind of chill fighter, and to be honest, I like to leave my hands do the talking.
Yeah.
You see so many fighters and they talk a big game, and then when it doesn't go their way, then I find that it's a bit embarrassing.
And what does 2025 look like for you? You know what I mean? Like, how active, like, would you like to be or whatever?
I'd hope to have. It'd be nice to have 3 or 4 fights. That would be a great year for me. And I'll get the first fight announced now of 2025 in the next couple of weeks, and yeah, we can start building on that.
Yeah. And so, first of all, man, I appreciate you doing this on short notice, man, being so generous with your time, man. We're in touch now on social media. When the fight news comes, man, keep me in the loop, man. I'll share it around, man, and we'll definitely stay in touch and we'll do this again.
Oh, that's great. No, I really appreciate your time, and yeah, as I said, it's been good talking to you, man.
Definitely. Yeah, I appreciate you doing it, man, and certainly best of luck going forward, man. And again, man, keep me tapped in and on what's going on, man.
No worries. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah. And thanks, Danny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good chatting with you, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Later. There he goes, folks. Danny Boy Keating, Mr. International, does it again. Goes all the way over to Australia, although he is in Australia by way of Cork, Ireland, like our boy Tommy the Governor Hyde. Ireland makes them tough. I don't give a shit what anybody says, man. You put an Irish guy in the ring, man, you're going to get a fucking fight, man, from a guy that knows how to fight, man. Danny Keating off to a good start in the sport, man. 9-0, 5 knockouts, welterweight, as I said, by way of Cork, Ireland. We literally set that up, man, within the last half hour, man, just chopping it up with the man and decided, hey, let's throw together an episode, and here we are, man. And certainly wish him a lot of luck going forward, man. As of right now, as I said, he's in Australia, man, by way of Cork, Ireland. Of course, training and under the tutelage of the great Dennis Hogan, man. I mean, come on, man. It doesn't get much better than that, as he so eloquently said in that interview, man. Learning from the best, surrounding yourself with a great team. That's what a young fighter needs to do right there, man. I do believe that a big part of it is having great people around you and a great support system. The more that I cover this boxing and do the podcast, I'm starting to realize, man, that usually success, to a certain degree, it does help to have amazing people around you, man. Danny Keating sounds like he is off to a great start. As I said, 9-0, 5 knockouts, man, at the welterweight division. Keep your eye on him. As you know, I get a real charge from having guys on here that are on the come up, man. Having legends and luminaries is great. Having champions is great. Former champions, all that stuff, man. But I really love showcasing guys that are in the embryonic stages of their career early on, man, just getting their start, man. And these are our future champions. These are our future Miguel Cottos, Floyd Mayweathers, Manny Pacquiao's, God willing, man. These guys are the threshold to that next generation, man. And so, I get a big charge at 52 years old, having been watching the sport and been around it for so long, man. It's great to see, the changing of the guard, these new guys coming on, and knowing that our sport is in great hands with tough, young, capable, intelligent young fighters, man. So again, a big thank you to Danny Keating, man, for coming on here and on short notice, man. Great chopping it up with him. Again, make sure to like and follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this channel to stay tapped in to that undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing podcast, bar none. I'll defend the title, throw out the challenge, and I will show you the playlist, the star-studded playlist, I might add. Nobody has ran down the amount and the awesomeness of guests that yours truly has. And of course, let me give some credit. The first 160 episodes co-hosted by my son, Frankie the Flamethrower. So I got to give credit to him, man, who started the podcast with me and carried it a good majority of the way, man. Of course, time constraints, family obligations. He is my son, after all, so I can keep you guys in the loop. Benji's doing fine, man. Father to my beautiful grandkids, man. He's doing the father thing. He's doing the responsible thing, man. And just found it difficult to continue to do the episodes, man. But he's alive and well and may still pop in here from time to time, man. But the show goes on. Pops carries the torch, keeps on going, man, keeps on bringing you this amazing boxing content, man. And like I always tell you guys before I end these things, if you want to be a champion, continue to stay tapped in with Off the Couch Boxing and continue to roll with the champs. Peace.